everybody, it's Michelle, and today I've got for you a lower body focused mat Pilates workout. So we're going to work all around the legs, the inner and outer thighs, the front, the back, a little of everything. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start lying down on one side. You can rest your head on your bottom arm or even bend your elbow and put your head in your hand. Bottom leg can be bent. That's a little bit easier. Straight is a little bit harder. So if your leg's straight, you want to kick it in front of you a little bit so it kind of acts as a kickstand to help you balance. Okay, now with your top leg, you're going to lift it up to about hip height. And all I want you to do is just flex and point your foot and ankle a couple of times while holding the leg right at hip height. Yeah. Now you want to feel really active, like somebody's almost holding your ankle and kind of pulling it across the room, and feel what that does to this underside of the waist. It should feel a little bit lifted and lighter. Yeah, we don't want to be slumping down into the mat. So good. You want to keep that sensation all while we're laying on our side here, okay? So now let's leave our foot flexed. I want you to kick your leg forward in a little pulsing action. So we're going to do 2 kicks of the leg. 1, kick it even further. 2. Now as you exhale, bring the leg behind you, point it, and reach as far as you can. So you get a nice stretch through the thigh. And then we do that again. 2 kicks. 1, kick further. 2, and then reach as far as you can back. Good. Now we're reaching as far as we can, keeping the leg at hip height and keeping it parallel, and also trying to keep our back nice and still. So it's all about the hip flexing and extending, and then the spine stays nice and stable. Yeah, let's do that a couple more times. You don't want to feel like you tuck your tail or round your spine, especially on the kick forward. Let's do this one last time. You're going to start feeling these outer thighs working for sure. Very good. All right, now hold your leg behind you at that angle where you can feel the nice opening of the hip. And I just want you to lower and lift the leg very slightly, reaching back on that angle. Good. Your other leg is feeling actively pushing into the floor. So good. Couple more times. Now your foot probably won't be able to touch the floor here, but just go as low as you can and lift. 2, 1. Now hold up at hip height, bring the leg back forward and rest it down for a second. Whew. All right, getting those outer thighs warmed up for sure. Now bring your legs back into line with your body. So this is going to be a little bit harder to balance. So we're in one long line. Okay, now your top foot is pointed. You're going to keep it pointed and just lift it up to hip height. Now flex the ankle and drop your leg back down. Good. So kind of how we warmed up that foot a minute ago, bringing back that same ankle action. Yes. So lifting not too high. Yeah, about to hip height-ish, making sure we don't collapse the bottom side of the waist into the floor. Yeah, let's do that 2 more times. We point to lift, flex to lower. Very good. Now point and hold that top leg up. Now, bottom leg is going to lift to meet. So I hope we didn't lift the top leg too much, and then let both legs come down together. And then we do that again. Top leg goes, bottom leg follows, and then we lower down slowly. So now we're getting some inner thigh action with that bottom leg. So good. Try to get the entire inseam together. So not just the toes, but that full ankle connection. Very good. Do that 2 more times. You can use this top hand on the floor to help you as needed. Very good. Now keep the legs together, and you're going to lift both legs up together and lower together. Up and down. So good. Try to keep that tight connection between the legs. It's almost like the bottom leg is lifting the weight of the top leg. Yeah. Good. Now make sure the chin is staying away from your chest, so no added tension in the neck. Let's do 2 more. Whew, and then last one. And then relax. So good. Oh, all right. Let's even out on the other side. I don't want to be lopsided on that one for sure. All right. So get comfy on your new side. We're going to start this time with the bottom leg kicked forward like we did before. Okay, feel that little lift of your waist like somebody's pulling your leg across the room. All right, now just get the ankle going. Yes, and so you want to really feel the muscles at the front of the shin and in the calf and the muscles under the arch of the foot really working. Yes, so we're getting nice and connected to the muscles down there. Okay, all right, so now we're going to hold the foot flexed. Breathe in and kick forward 2 times. 1, kick even further. 2, point your foot and brush the leg behind your body. Good. So as far as you can go in those 2 directions without changing the shape of your spine. Yes, without lifting the leg any higher or lower and staying parallel. Yes, that's going to give us the best connection to the outer thighs here. Let's do that 2 more times. Really squeeze the glute to stretch the front of that thigh. So good. Last one. Now, pause with your leg back there, and we're going to lower and lift. And lift. So as the leg drops, you almost stretch out the muscles right on top of this hip, and then re-engage them to lift. So good. Feel the hip bones nice and stacked, one over the other. Good. Last 2. Last one. Bring your leg forward and then rest it down. All right, kick your legs back so that your body is in one long line. Okay, so now bringing back that ankle action from before, but adding it in with the legs. So top leg is going to lift with a pointed foot. You're going to flex it at the top and then drop it down. Very good. I point to lift, flex to lower. Yeah, it's good to kind of connect to our feet and our ankles and get them moving. Yes, we spend so much time in shoes and we don't always get a chance to kind of mobilize the feet. So this is a really good chance to do that. All right, now on your next one, just pause with the foot pointed. Now leave the feet how they are, and we're going to add in the inner thigh. So the bottom leg floats up and then both return together. 3 movements. 1, bottom leg lifts. 2, and then lower together. 3. So good. 2, and then 3. So feel a nice pulling away from the mat through that bottom oblique. Up, up, and then down. So good. No need to lift that leg super high. We want to be able to touch it with the bottom leg. Last 2. So good for these stabilizing muscles around the hip. All right, so now both legs stay together, lift together, lower together, up and down. Keep as tight of a connection between the legs as you can. Lift. So good. Let's do 3 more. Make sure the neck has stayed long, wide through the collarbones. And last one. Amazing. All right, so now that we got kind of the outer and the inner thighs, let's roll to our backs and work a little more of the back of the legs. All right, so come on down. You're going to have your feet flat, your knees bent. Start in a nice neutral spine, and then just start tucking and tilting your pelvis back and forth a little bit. So the feet are hip width apart, close enough to you that you feel like you're going to have some good leverage to lift the hips in a minute, all right? So now that we've got this rocking action started, let's turn this in to the start of our bridge. So as we exhale, we're going to go into that tuck, squeeze the glutes, lengthen the thighs, and get up into this bridge shape. So my knees, my hips, and my shoulders make a diagonal line, and then soften back through the spine and relax into that tilt of the pelvis. Good. Do that again. So I breathe out, I scoop under, roll up as I push my arms into the mat. Now just hold here and feel these muscles as you hold this bridge position, and then soften back down. So good. A few more times. We get that nice connection to lift, and then we get that isometric contraction to hold us here for the extra count, and then lower back down. So good. Let's do that 2 more times. Make sure the ribs aren't flaring off of the mat. You want to feel a little gentle drawing down so that the work is really coming from the lower body. So good. All right, now one last time, lift up to your best bridge and stay. Now I want you to drop your tail down till it almost touches the mat, and I hinge at the hips and then lift right back up. So I hinge and lift, drop and lift. So my tail is almost touching. I get a nice curve in my spine at the bottom. Very good. Let's do that 4 more times. Pretend as if you had a ball or a block between your knees. Give that a little squeeze. Very good. Now pause at the top, hold it, and slowly roll back down to reset and relax. Whew. All right. Next, to advance this a little bit, we're going to add a single leg slide to those lift and lowers. If that's too much, you can repeat what we just did. So we're going to roll to get up there. Now, as I breathe in, I'm going to drop my hips just as I did, but I'm also going to slide one foot forward. Now, you can touch your hips to the floor here if you'd like, and then come back and replace the foot. Now, do the other side. I reach one leg out. If you want to hover and not touch, you absolutely can. So your hips and your leg wouldn't touch the mat. That's a little bit more difficult. Or set your leg and your hips down, and then press and return all together. Very good. Either one, try to keep the hips level. Very good. Let's do one more on each leg. Hip bones try to stay lined up. Now pause at the top and then roll through your spine. Whew, to come all the way down. Awesome. All right. Next, we're going to work our way up into a shoulder bridge, okay? So a lot more endurance on a single leg for some of these bridges. So let's work up to it. So instead of articulating, I just want you to hinge right up to your bridge and then touch fully back down. Good. Do that a couple more times. Just get up there quick and then come right back down. Good. Shoot the knees forward over the toes. All right, now get up there and stay. I want you to roll through one foot, lift the heel, and then press off your toes to find a tabletop, and then come back down. Now let's do the other foot. So try to roll through the knees, the toes, and the ankle. Yes, so kind of how we talked about trying to articulate the feet and get them awake. This is another good chance to do that. Let's do one more time on each leg. The pelvis stays. Good. Now lift even higher and then just set the hips down. All right. So that was kind of getting us practicing being on those single legs. So now we're going to advance that even more. Ready? So we hinge up and hold. Now roll through that same tabletop, but end up with a straight leg and then set the foot back down. So I go through tabletop to reach, through tabletop to lower. Yes? So now if you just set the foot down flat, it's not going to be as smooth of a transition. So that's where that rolling through the ankles really comes in handy. Squeeze the thigh and then pause and lift even higher and then set the hips down. All right, last one, trickiest of all. We're going to stay on one leg for a little bit longer and add a lower and lift. So here we go. Lift your hips up and stay. Go through your tabletop to lift. Now I want you to flex your foot, lower the leg forward, point it and lift. Flex and lower, point and lift. You can smooth that together and then place the foot down. Keep the hips up. Do the other side. I lift and then we lower and lift the leg for 3, for 2, for 1. Let's do one more time on either leg, staying up there if you can. Drop and lift. If it's too intense, do this with your hips down. Whew. And then replace one more time. Reach it up, lower and lift. 2, 1, and then set the foot down, lift a little higher, and replace the tail to the mat. Whew. Whew. So good, you guys. That is not an easy exercise. Good. All right, come over. So now we're going to get onto all fours. So flip on over. We're going to go hands down, knees under our hips. Okay, so spine nice and neutral. Press into the fingertips. So now all I want you to do is slide one leg back at a time and then replace it under you. So nice and easy. The goal here is to not try to shift the body side to side when the legs move out from under us. So if you're looking down at the mat, your gaze should stay in the same spot rather than shifting side to side. Yes, that really works the muscles on the sides of the hip, kind of like when we warmed up. Yes, by keeping the hip over knee, those muscles are working more. All right, you guys. Now, I want you to reach one leg back and stay. Okay, you're gonna hover your bottom knee up and place it down. Do that again. Lift and place it down. So I'm holding this kind of runner's lunge position and then just lifting and lowering the front knee. This is a lot of work on the front quad. Press into the hands. If this doesn't feel good, do little taps of your back leg instead. Okay, we'll do 3 more. Last 2. Now I want you to hold the last one and stay for 5. Take big breaths. 4. Push hard into both feet. 3. Spread the shoulder blades apart. 2. Last 1. And then set the knee down. Whew. Very good. Super good for those thighs. All right, now let's do the other side. So slide your one leg out and hold. We're gonna lift the front knee and lower. So both of the balls of my feet are staying on the mat. If this for you is just a no-go, doesn't feel good on your knees, then you tap and lower the back leg. Good, let's do that 3 more times. Good, last 2. Last 1, now hold up there and stay for 5 whole counts. Try to take big, deep breaths while we stay here. It'll distract from what we're doing. Last 2. Whew. Last 1. Set the knee down and then return. Good, you guys. All right. Let's take that a little bit further now. So now start in that all fours position, and we're gonna hover our knees at the same time. Okay, so from here, I'm just gonna breathe out and float my knees barely off the mat. The lower the knees are, the harder this is on the thighs, and then touch back down. Good, keep going, just like that. Exhale, feel the abdominals draw up into the spine, and then lower down. If that's not feeling good for you, try doing one knee and then the other, and then march back down. Yes, or even just lift and lower. You'll still get some good work for the hips and for the abdominals. All right, let's do a couple more. Lift it and then touch down. Last 2. All right, you guys, now just like before, lift it and stay, and we're gonna hold for 5, for 4, get rid of tension where you don't need it. 3, 2, 1, and then place the knees down. Woo-hoo. So good, you guys. All right, next, adding on even further. So start with that hover, however you were able to do it, one knee at a time or both together. Find your hover. Now, I want you to tap one foot back and then replace. Alternate, tap and return. If this doesn't feel good with knees off, you set your knees down and continue. Good. So again, we're working on the quads. Probably no mystery there. You can feel it. You don't need me to tell you. So good. Now, let's do 2 more. Last one. And we're going to do another 5-second hold. 5, 4, 3, 2. Now we're going to do little pulses up and down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now another 5-second hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come down. Oh, that was kind of mean, I'll admit it. I made you think we were done. Woo. Okay, good. All right. So we're gonna do one last thing here, and then we're gonna finish with a little bit of standing work, okay? So come back to your all fours. Now we're gonna get a little bit of rotation and a little bit of extra work for our inner thighs, okay? So here we go. Find that nice, strong 4-point kneeling position to start. So now we're going to start with a hover, just like we did, but we're not going to stay there for long. All that's going to allow us to do is shift our knees to one side and sit our hip on the mat. Kind of weird, right? Let's try that again. Now just shift back and replace your knees. Do that again. Little hover, twist, and set the hip down, and then I reverse it. Lift and replace. Good, couple more times. Now you feel free to make any changes necessary to help you do this successfully, okay? The main goal is to get twisted with your bottom hip down, all right? So you make that happen however you need to. Now, if this is working for you and it's plenty hard, stick with it. Or I want you to not touch your knees to the mat in the middle and just switch from hip to hip, hip to hip. And you might have to kind of step your feet in every time you switch so that they don't get slid out from behind you. Last two. Now pause on one hip, straighten your bottom leg, kick it out, bring it back, and twist. I drop my hip and kick, and then I come back and return. And that can kind of happen all at once. So by the time my hip is down, my leg is extended. Yes, this is not easy. Now again, you make this happen however you need to. Ooh, let's do that a couple more times. 3, 2, so good. Now get one hip down and stay. I want you to lift your top arm to the ceiling. Now just lift your bottom straight leg up and try to touch it and then place it down. Do that again. Lift and then lower. So a lot of abdominals, a lot of inner thighs, up and down. So good. Couple more. Okay. Here's our challenge. Ready? If you want, now your bottom hip is going to come off and lower, off and lower. So good. Lift and lower. 2 more. Good. Last one. Come down. Switch to the other side. All right, you guys, last one. We can do it. Ready? Feed your leg through. Arm reaches up. Start with just the arm and the leg. Now you'll have to kind of roll back on your pelvis just a little bit so that that leg can leave the floor. Good. 2. Now, if you'd like, add the hip lift. That's totally optional. Yes, only if you'd like and if it's working for you. 3 more. 2. Last one. And then touch all the way down. Oh, awesome, you guys. All right. Okay, come on up to standing for our last little hurrah. So, here we go. Come on up. We're going to get into a little bit of squats, okay? So stand about hip width apart, comfortable stance, and then I just want you to squat and stand. Nice and easy, okay? You find a pace, a rhythm that works for you. So if you want to go way faster than me or really take your time and slow it down, it's all good. Yes, so now we're going to add in, once you do a squat and a stand, take one leg, cross it over into a curtsy lunge, step back center, and do one squat. Down and up, cross over, find your curtsy, and then stand up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now you want to try to step kind of off the back end of your mat. Yes. If you don't step back far enough, your knees are going to end up like knocking together and it's not going to be as powerful of a position. Now, if you want a little extra work for your arms, really squeeze your triceps and press your arms behind you. So good. All right, you guys. Now, 2 pulses in each spot. 1, 2. Stand. 1, 2, up, 1, 2, up, 1, 2, so good, couple more, and down, that's it. All right, let's go through one more time, hitting each position, 1, 2, very good. Now end up in one of your curtsy squats and stay. Take your hands behind your head. You're gonna stand up, lift your back knee, and side bend, elbow to knee, and then replace. Stand and side bend, lower, up and lower. So good. If you're losing your balance, you can just tap the foot. 3, 2, last one. So good. Now switch sides. Here we go. Curtsy, hands to the head, and we side bend and drop. Up and drop. Try to get taller as you find that side bend. Last 3. Good. Last 2. Last 1. And then stand on up. Very good. All right. Now, last thing, I'm going to face side just so you can see me a little better. We're gonna do one last little thing for our legs and also our feet and ankles and calves, so kind of lower leg as well. Here we go. So stand tall, find your squat. I like to go hands together. You can do hands on hips, wherever you'd like. Now, once you find your best and deepest squat, I want you to pick both your heels up off the floor. Now, stand up with the heels off and then place them down. Do that again. Squat, lift, stand, and lower. Very good. 1, 2, 3, and there's no hurry. You take your time. Yes, as big of a heel lift as you can comfortably get, and comfortably straighten your leg with that high heel. Now, if you want to stand close to something to hold on to for balance, you can. You can also just do one heel instead of 2, okay? Now, pause with straight legs, heels down, and we're going to reverse this. So now we lift first, a little different coordination, bend with high heels. Make sure you lean forward, drop them at the bottom, stand up. Lift, hinge, almost lost it. Heels down, and then lift. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. So good, you guys. Again, you pick the pace. You can follow me or choose your own. All right. Last time. Now I want you to pause in your squat, drop, and lift your heels, leaving your knees bent. That's not easy. Lower and lift. We're getting down into those deep muscles of the calf. So good. 2. Okay, last thing. Hold your heels up. Pulse for 10, 9. If you're having trouble, put the heels down. Continue your pulses. 3, 2, 1. And then stand up and relax. Okay, you guys. All right, let's finish with a little stretch on the mat. So come on to all fours. We're gonna do a little pigeon stretch, okay? So I want you to slide one leg back behind you, toes down. Now just take your bottom leg and swing your foot across to the opposite side. And then you sit back into as deep of a stretch as you'd like. You can stay up on your hands. Can come down to your elbows, can lay your whole body forward. You find wherever that stretch needs to be. Or maybe you stay up here and just sit back a little bit. Yeah, that would be less intense. All right, and then just breathe. Every time you exhale, let gravity just drag your weight further through the floor. Good. Think of your back hip kind of rolling forward to meet your heel. All right, come back up onto your hands, tuck your back foot under, come up and switch to the other side. So new leg back, swing the foot over, and then slide back into as big of a stretch as you're comfortable with. So maybe that's staying here with your hip off the mat. Maybe that's folding all the way till the hips are down. Good, and then we breathe, let the head be heavy. So good. All right. Carefully bring yourself all the way up. And we are done. Thank you so much for joining me for that lower body focused mat workout. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. Leave me a comment down below if you have any feedback or requests for future videos. If you haven't, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications and share this video with a friend. And I'll see you next time. Bye.